Florida Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz is here with us this morning, here to reveal for the first time on national television her successful battle with breast cancer. After a year of treatment and 7 major surgeries, she now has a clean bill of health. Her personal battle is over, but her fight to help other women with breast cancer just begun, because later today on Capitol Hill she'll introduce important new legislation that calls for a national breast cancer education campaign targeting women under 40, which is so key. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh gosh, thank you for having me.
When you called me last week, it just took my breath away. Had no idea what you had been facing. Tell folks when you first realized that you had had breast cancer.
Well, a little more than a year ago, I was doing a routine self-exam in the shower, and did that occasionally, not super regularly, but found a lump in my breast, or at least what I thought was one. Had my husband check it to make sure that it was what I thought it was, and a few days later went to the doctor, and then the roller coaster began.
You were 41 at the time?
I was 41.
So
right.
You had heard, like everyone had heard, 40 years old, that's when you start checking.
And I had just had my first mammogram 2 months before that, and it showed nothing. So I was, really not prepared for what I found. And the focus for most for young women is on 40. It's a fixation on 40, and so if you're not 40, so many young women in America think they're invincible, and they don't think about being able to get breast cancer. It's just not something they focus on.
So you start on this roller coaster, and you decide just to tell close friends and family.
Right.
And you didn't until this past weekend tell your...
Saturday night.
Saturday night you told your children.
Right.
9-year-old twins.
Right.
And little 5-year-old Shelby. You just told them this past weekend.
I did.
How did you sit them down and tell them? What did you tell them?
I didn't sit them down. I did it more casually. My daughters were in the playroom watching TV. I just, I had my daughter Rebecca mute the television and just, sort of casually mentioned, remember last year, they knew I had surgery. And I said, remember last year when Mommy had all that surgery and I told you that, I had something inside my breast that needed to come out because it didn't belong there. I said, well, what I had was breast cancer. And, my 9-year-old Rebecca's eyes got really big, and Shelby was, only half paying attention. And I said, but it's okay now. Everything's fine. I've gone through all the procedures I need to go through, and I'm going to be okay. And I just wanted you to know, because I'm going to introduce a bill, and they know what that is.
Right.
They're going to introduce a bill to try to help other young women who might face breast cancer, so that they can know what their risks are. And it was good. And then I brought my son in, who was at baseball. When he came in a little bit later, I sat him down on the couch too, and
it was very important.
His reaction was funny.
What was his reaction?
He was like, "But you're okay, right, Mom?" And I said, "Yeah, no, I'm good." Shelby said the same thing. Jake said, Jake was asked me a couple questions. Shelby said, "But you're okay, Mom, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." She said, "Okay, good." And then she ran off to play, and Rebecca had the most questions.
Well, we have video of you with your family in September while you were going through this.
Yes.
And you're vibrant, you're working, you didn't miss any work.
No.
You scheduled your surgeries around congressional breaks and that. It was very important. You wanted to live your life.
I did. I really wanted to make sure that I could protect my children. I mean, they were 8 and 4 when I was diagnosed, and I wanted to make sure that I could confidently, with a clear conscience, tell them that Mommy was going to be okay. And I didn't want it to define me. I wanted to make sure that I could get through the year, as Debbie Wasserman Schultz, mom, congresswoman, hot wife.
Wow.
But not, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who is currently battling breast cancer. Anytime a reporter wrote something about me, I just didn't want that to be the tagline on the end of my name.
And cancer, wow. I hear you talk about this, because it's true. It's not one size fits all.
No, it's
Everyone
not.
has to do what's best for them.
That's right.
And when you called me, you said in part because you are introducing legislation today.
Yes.
It's going to change some lives. Tell us about that.
It's called the Early Act. The Breast Cancer Education and Awareness Requires Learning Young Act of 2009, and it's designed to educate. It'll kick off a national education and awareness campaign focused on young women, because young women do think we're invincible, and we don't think about it. And it'll also focus on educating physicians, because so many times physicians blow off a young woman when she comes in with symptoms or warning signs, because they don't focus on that young women can get breast cancer.
And we fight with insurance companies because they're saying, "What? You're not 40 yet."
That's right. It's a constant battle. That even the diagnostic testing for younger women may not get covered, and then you're struggling on the phone with your insurance company. And then there's also an important focus in the bill on providing grants to organizations that help young women get through the unique challenges that we face. I mean, if you haven't had, I was lucky, I've been married for 18 years and I have 3 children, but so many younger women, you know, they're at the beginning, that they are single, they'll have to deal with dating, they'll have to deal with the fact that they have reconstructive surgery and they won't be able to breastfeed children down the road, and their fertility is compromised if they go through radiation and chemo. I was fortunate, I avoided radiation and chemotherapy, but this will provide grants to organizations to help young women get through the unique challenges that they face.
Well, bless your heart for doing this. And I know this was very difficult. You're a very private woman, although you're in the public eye. I'm glad that your family took it so well. Why not? You are such a shining example.
My husband and my friends and family were wonderful, and now I hope that we can educate young women across the country.
Well, we'll do it.
Thanks.
Thanks so much. Thank you very, very much. All the best to you. We look forward to that legislation today.
Thank you.
Thank you.